Hi guys! Welcome to the second part of developing node.js applications using TypeScript. In the previous part I showed you how to configure Visual Studio Code in order to develop node.js applications with TypeScript. If you haven't seen it yet, please check it because it may be useful for you. Today I would like to show you how to connect to MongoDB database and do a few basic operations directly from node.js. Okay, so what do we need? I assume that you have installed MongoDB server on your computer, or you are able to connect to another MongoDB server. It would be also nice to have RoboMongo, which is a great GUI open source tool for browsing and querying MongoDB databases. Okay, let's start. Okay, we are in the Visual Studio Code right now, and here is the application that we wrote a few days ago. So let's add to it the MongoDB. First, what we need to do, we need to install the official package for MongoDB from the npm package manager. And in order to do that, we open the terminal and we write npm install MongoDB and -- save in order to save the MongoDB as the dependency in package JSON file. Okay, it is ready, so now press arrow up and let's install the types for it, for MongoDB, and change the save to save def. Basically, everything what is necessary for running applications should be saved as the dependency, normal dependency, and everything like types for TypeScript, additional types, may be saved as developer dependency because they would need them only for building the application. Okay, and so let's check the package JSON, and as you can see, we have dependency to for MongoDB, TypeScript, and dev dependency for types. Okay, so let's utilize the MongoDB. So let's create a new folder and call it common, and inside let's create a new file dbclient.ts. Okay, here we are going to import MongoDB, and we need to import them Mongo client, and db also would be useful. Okay, let's create a new class. And it will have one single method, connect, of course. And here, Mongo client, we use Mongo client to connect to the Mongo database. And as a first parameter, we have to specify the correct URI to the Mongo server. And the correct format for it is Mongo URI format is the MongoDB protocol, let's say. Then is that the host, port number, and database. I am running the MongoDB server on localhost and on the default port, so I won't change that, but I would like to change maybe the database name to test. Okay, and let's close this panel, and now as you can see, we can pass the callback as the second argument, or if you wish, we can also pass some additional options. We don't want to pass any options for now, so we may pass here the callback function, but it is quite old approach and it is not recommended because it is after your code is growing, you will have something like callback hell. You probably will be able to Google it. So, but just to give you an example, by design, every callback method in Node.js takes the error object as the first parameter, and then you have other arguments. So, and what you need to do, you have to check if error occurs, and if something wrong happen, let's say that we'd like to log that to the console. In other case, let's assign the DB connected database object to the property which doesn't exist yet. So let's create a public DB, and let's use the database type from DB. Oh, sorry, from MongoDB. Okay, so it is the old approach, but we can do that a little bit better. So let's comment this out. Let's take this one part. So another approach is that we can use the promises. So after closing the bracket and putting the dot, you see that we can use the then and catch method here. So basically we say that if everything went fine, we would like to call this function, and so basically when everything went fine, the function passed as an argument here to the then method would be called, and we would be able to save the connected database as a Mongo, as a class property. If we would like to catch the exception, the errors that may happen, we have to use the catch statement, the catch block, and let's print for now the error message to the console. Okay, but as you may guess, there is still way for improvements here, because from Typescript 2.0 we can use the await and async functions, even if we transpile the Typescript to the old ES3 and ES5 JavaScript. So how to do that? It is very simple. So let's take me that. And let's say that we'd like to save the output from the connect method, because connect returns a promise, and we would like to wait for the results of the promise, for that promise, and then save it directly to the database, to the DB property. Here is something wrong, I'm sorry. And as you can see, in order to use await, we have to say that this function connect is asynchronous. Okay, so how can we catch the exceptions that may occur here? It is very simple, because we can do that by the common try catch statement. So we have the try catch block, and if everything goes wrong, the error would be catched by the catch statement here. Okay, so let's add some more logging here. And let's return this DB. Okay, and now the Visual C codes complain that it doesn't know what is the promise and how the constructor looks like. So we have two solutions here. The first one is that we can go to the tsconfig file and change the target version from ES5 to ES 2016, for example. And when we come back to that file, and after rebuilding, even not, it is marked, it is correct, yes. But what if you would like to still write for ES5? So we would like to write in TypeScript, but you would like to have the JavaScript in ES5 version for some reason. So in this situation, we need to install additional types for TypeScript, and so we write npm install types es6 -promise, and we like to save that as developer dependency. Save that. Okay, it is ready. So let's check the node modules types ES6 promise. It is there. So after rebuilding, it should be fine. If it doesn't work for you, you probably need to reload the Visual C code, because sometimes it didn't recognize and that it is correct. Okay, and I have set the same situation, so just press F1 or Ctrl P and use the reload window, and after that everything should be fine. Okay, so let's come back to the app and let's import our class. Okay, we have forgotten about exporting this class outside. So let's come at the end of the file and let's write export, and we would like to create a new instance here. Okay, so we are exporting the new instance of DB client of class, and basically we create the singleton, so every time when you import by require method the DB client, you will get the same object, so it will be, you will have the singleton with store the connection to the database. Okay, so let's try to utilize it. So let's write DB client connect, and as you can see, the connect method returns the promise which may return the DB object or undefined, and the reason for that is very simple. Let's come back here, and we have the try catch and block here, and if everything went fine, we return the database object here, but in case of the error, we don't return anything. So personally, I think that in this situation it is better to try to put the try catch block outside of the DB client, because if something would wrong happen, we don't want to be able to use the application. So if we are not able to connect to the database, the application shouldn't start really. So let's put it here. Okay, and let's move our code here a bit higher. Okay, let's wait for the connection, and of course we need to mark the start function as async. Okay, so in order to use the database and to save something to the MongoDB, we need to choose what collections we'd like to use. So let's say that we would like to have the collection to do, and we'd like to insert something to it. Okay, so we use the insert method, and after that we pass the new object there. It will be very simple. For example, AngularJS prog. Okay, and after that, of course, the insert method returns the promise, which types insert one write operation. So let's check what it is returning. So let's wait for the results, and if everything would be fine, let's put here the console log and print results inserted ID. Okay, of course we can also use the other approach, and we can insert a lot of, maybe not a lot, but we can insert multiple documents at the same time. So let's say that we like to insert many documents. So here, instead of the object, we need to specify the array of objects, and here we can add some new new objects, Typescript, okay, and the same approach is here. So we are waiting for the results, and insert many results, insert write operation result, which probably or for sure should have results too. It should have the inserted IDs. Okay, and it is pretty much it. So let's try to download our document stored in the to-do collections and print them to the console. So one more time and declare new variable await DB collection to do, and here we would like to find all documents, and we don't want to specify any filter, any query here. And as you can see, by default the find option returns the cursor. So in order to execute the query, we need to call toArray method, and toArray method returns the promise, of course, but it will return the array of some objects. Okay, and let's write that to the console. Okay, so before I run this application, I would like to show you the RoboMongo. And as you can see, I am connected to the server on localhost, and there is no database, so any database exists here. And so let's run that, and as you will see, the MongoDB will automatically create the database and the collection. So you don't have to worry about that some collection doesn't exist, because it will be created. Okay, and as you can see, we have the starting application connected to database, undefined. Oops, it is strange. And there we have the array of inserted IDs, and we see that we have 3 inserted documents here. As you can see, every document here has a special property which was generated by the MongoDB, and it is _ID. By default, the MongoDB uses the _ID as a primary key for every document, and by default it uses the object ID, which looks like that. So there is no auto-incrementing value like in other databases, relational databases. Okay, so let's come back to the RoboMongo and let's refresh that. And as you can see, we have new database, we have collections, and the same documents are existing here. Okay, so let's come back maybe to this undefined, and the reason of that is very simple. Sometimes when you have TypeScript and JavaScript and you have the types, some types may be wrong, and I use it here the wrong method. So basically the insert1 method returns the inserted ID, and the insert method also returns that, but on the other property. But don't worry about that right now. Let's try to run this one more time. So let's remove that collection. Drop collection, yes. And let's restart the application. Okay, and as you can see, now it is working and everything is fine. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions or problems, please let me know. In the next part, I would like to show you how to use Express.js in order to create a basic API.